This episode of the Orange is Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, is brought to you by our presenting sponsors, Aligned Health Center and The Place. Here's my conversation with Maria Jean Colda. We talk about how young is too young for chiropractic biophysics. And chiropractic biophysics, is there like an age limit to that? Or I feel like chiropractic care, it's almost like the stigma. You don't want to do that too early because it could mess up. Like, is that the same stigma with the chiropractic biophysics?
So I had this huge smile on my face as you asked that question because two of our patients came to mind. Mm-hmm. One of them is one of my best friends who just had a baby, and we went to the hospital and gave her her first adjustment when she was 6 hours old. So it's definitely not too early to start chiropractic. At any point. One of the most important spinal adjustments is actually within the first few days of birth. Oh, wow. And we treat mothers all the way through their pregnancy, babies from day one to birth, and there is no age limit on chiropractic.
Call Aligned Health Center today at 440-230-6865 or visit them online at alignedhealthcenters.com. This episode was also brought to you by The Place. The Place is the place for all of your hot tub, spa, fireplace, and outdoor grill needs. Listen, The Place has been in business for 52 years. It's family owned and operated. They are a full service fireplace and spa shop. Listen to this. They have over 16,000 square foot showroom, recently renovated with over 40 live burning fireplaces and over 40 hot tubs and swim spas on display. You've got to check it out. It will blow your mind. They've been voted North America's #1 service center by Coast Spas 2 of the last 4 years. They are not finished and satisfied with their work until you, the customer, are not finished and satisfied with your installation and new product. Transform the backyard into the backyard of your dreams today with The Place. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think The Place. Visit them on 2377 Medina Road today. Look for the palm trees to transform your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. Shouts to The Place. This was also brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network. Listen, Books with Brooks just talked about their September book, The Great Believers, and it's not too late to join in on their October book, The Shining. Yes, Stephen King's classic, The Shining. I'm going to read it along with them. Check it out. The Shining Books is incredible. Love what they're doing over there. October book, The Shining. Check it out. The Main Event Wrestling Podcast with Jordan and Jam, talking about all things WWE NXT. Jump in the ring and check out the best wrestling podcast available. The Tim and Shipe Show, our college football podcast, doing big things. The Buckeyes and Tim's Florida Gators are having great season, which is great for their show. It's a ton of fun. Thanks and shouts to the Tim and Shipe Show. Next Man Up with Kenny Rhoda and Dennis Maniloff, bringing you the very best Cleveland sports commentary. Cavs on the break, about to check back in to Sam Amico. A Swing and a Tribe doing all they can to help the Tribe make the playoffs this year. Not sure how that's going to work out. But shouts to Mike and Brent for a great work this season. The baseball season is so long, it's a marathon, and they have done so well. Love A Swing and a Tribe. I was looking at the stats, and they are in the top 100 podcasts in America for baseball. So shouts to A Swing and a Tribe. Thank you for subscribing and downloading to that. Also very excited to announce our newest show in the Press Play family, D3 Down and Distance with Chris Golian. D3 will cover all things Division III college football. Chris is a 2-time national champion with Mount Union and will bring us unparalleled access and analysis from everyone's favorite D3 college football powerhouse. Chris Golian is our new host from the D3 Down and Distance podcast, available in October. You can follow us on Twitter at PressPlayPods, like our page on Facebook at PressPlayPods. Visit our website, PressPlayPodcast.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. I promise we won't flood your inbox. 2 emails a month. And that's it, PressPlayPodcasts.com. In this episode, Jeremy and I preview the Browns-Ravens Sunday afternoon 1 p.m. divisional matchup. We start with our House of Hoodies game preview and narratives. We jump to keys to the game and make our bold predictions. Big game coming up. We've got to win this one, and dare we say, to keep the season alive. I'm feeling good about it. I don't know how you're feeling. I think we really do have a shot. I think we're going to come away with a victory on Sunday afternoon. Jim Donovan, take us away, baby!
45-40, run, William, run! He's got blockers in front, 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs! Snap back, ball down, kick block! They blocked the kick!
This is the Orange is Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and with me, as always, Browns insider Jeremy Powell. Jeremy, it's about to be kickoff, baby. What do you say?
Hey, man, this is a big freaking game. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Look, they need to come out and win this game if we're going to go to the playoffs. Think about it. This is like 2 games. It's our first in division game. It's a huge game. If we win, we're tied for first. We forget about all the negativity of the first 2 games. If we lose, we have to go into San Francisco next Monday night. Dude, no matter how you slice it, I hate to say must win, but this is a huge, huge game.
These are the games that teams in this position win if you're looking to grow and improve. The Ravens are 2-1. The Browns are 1-2. Let's jump to our House of Hoodies game preview presented by our friends at House of Hoodies. Jeremy, do you know the line to this game?
I swear I have not looked. I have not even guessed yet.
Yeah, 1 p.m. kickoff in Baltimore. 1 p.m. kickoff in Baltimore.
I'm going to start at 3 and go from, I'm going to say 5.5.
It is Ravens by 6.5.
6.5. Okay, that makes sense. I was thinking between the 5 and 7.
68% of the action is on the Ravens,
which doesn't surprise me either. Very
the Ravens are averaging 36.7 points per game. Lamar Jackson's one of the early season bright spots in the NFL, just completely taking the league by storm. The Ravens are averaging 511 yards per game under this Lamar Jackson-led offense. What on earth is going on? Like, how is that so successful?
I think part of it is circumstance. I mean, they played Miami week 1. Miami doesn't even want to be on the football field. They, the second week they played Arizona. It was not very good, and actually they struggled with Arizona, but they did put up a ton of yards. And then last week, I actually watched the entire game against Kansas City.
Wasn't that close.
And it wasn't as close as the score.
No.
And it wasn't as close as the score. And they didn't put up all their yards until after they were down 3 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson at one point was 8 of 20. Okay. Mark Ingram looked great. I'll give him that. Lamar Jackson did not look great, not throwing the ball. And then, Kansas City let off the gas a little bit in the fourth quarter, and Lamar Jackson put up, a couple hundred yards passing. But I'm telling you right now, he did not look great.
Lamar Jackson.
So it's a part of it, but no. Let me give him this. He is an electric athlete. I think he's more electric than Michael Vick. Everyone compares him to Vick. Oh, wow. He is electric. I just don't think he's ever going to be able to be. It's always going to have to be some gimmicks involved because he's just never going to be 5-step drop, plant your foot, and throw. It's just not him. He doesn't have that in him. But if they can keep running, as Steve Wilkes said yesterday in the Browns press conference, it's a straight college offense, and it's a good one. But it's a college offense. It's not an NFL offense. They use they mask his deficiencies with tight ends. They play 3 tight ends a lot of the time. All 3 are good, though. I'm telling you right now, all 3 of their tight ends are good. But there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors, it makes it so hard on a linebacker when you got a guy who can run the ball, especially a guy who's a 4.3 40 type guy who can run the ball. So, the linebackers have to make a decision, commit, and then he hits them over top with a tight end running behind them. If they stay back on the tight end, he runs and gets 5-6 yards easy. It's really tough. I think the key to beating them as far as the defense goes, keep slowing down, is to make them work their way up and down the field. Make them take the 3- and 4-yard plays. Don't give up the tight end running behind you like we did last year to Mark Andrews for, the 80-yard touchdown, stuff like that.
Steve Wilkes said Lamar is the most electrifying player since Michael Vick. I think it's what you were referring to. I'm not going to say he's more electrifying, even though I am the one who gave a game ball to Freddie Kitchens in our last episode. I'm not going to I mean, Michael Vick, dude, he has an arm of Patrick Mahomes and the legs of – he's just literally made out of a game of Madden. I don't know if Lamar Jackson's there yet. I'm not saying he couldn't get there. But he has 12 starts under his belt. How many games has he started?
Yeah, you know what? Let's see, too. That sounds about right. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but that sounds about right. And yeah, other people the second time through, we'll see. San Diego seemed to take the blueprint of the second half of the Browns game, the Los Angeles Chargers in the playoff game last year and shut him down. So we'll see now that the Browns have played him. The Browns have, they know how fast he is. They have sized him up. We'll see how they, play against him this year.
With the defense that limited the Rams' high-powered offense to 20 points, is this a taller order or a easier challenge, this Ravens offense?
Well, it's different. You know how teams always say they hate playing Navy because they run in college because it's a completely different look than everybody else you play because they run the triple option. I think there's a little bit of that going on with playing Baltimore. There's no other team in the league whose quarterback is going to run it 15 times, right? There's nobody else. So it's just a different look. Now, NFL teams and NFL defenses are big, fast, and smart, and they're going to figure it out eventually. And, he's going to have to become – and he has become a better passer, but he's going to have to become an even better passer because there's no way he can keep up running the ball 15, 16 times a game. That being said, I think it creates new and different headaches, and I think the NFL defenses and defensive coordinators hate dealing with it.
Jeremy, since 2008 under Jim Harbaugh, do you know the Ravens' record against the Browns?
No, but here, let me give it a go. So since 2008, that's going to be 20 games, 16-4.
19-3.
19, so they played 22 times. 19-3, 6-4. And it's funny to see. I remember 2 of the wins. I was at one of the wins, which was
one a season opener, I think, Garcia, right?
Yeah, and then last year at home, we beat them.
Yep.
And then in 07 we swept them. That was the other one. 07 we beat them both times.
That was before Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, I'm sorry. The season opener was too then.
Okay. Yeah,
so I don't remember. The season opener was 04.
Oh yeah, that was like.
So yeah, that was way back. But yeah, so I remember one of them. I don't remember the other ones off the top of my head, but it doesn't surprise me. And I think John Harbaugh's a great coach. It's funny. I did say the other week that Mike Prefer, our new special teams coach, reminds me of John Harbaugh, and what John Harbaugh was a special teams coach. But yeah, John is the Ravens coach. Jim is the Michigan coach.
What?
Am I right?
That wrong.
It happens, brother.
I'm looking up.
But John
right now.
John and Jim, they don't even remind me of each other. John is so cerebral.
You're right.
If you heard him talk about how he uses analytics, like he mixes in analytics with traditional football, just smarts, and he's just I'm a John Harbaugh fan. I think he's a great coach. I think he whines to the refs too much, and I hate watching his body language on the sideline. It drives me nuts. But I think he's a fantastic coach, and I think he's a smart coach, and I personally like the guy.
John Harbaugh, Jay. My bad.
Right.
I wish Jim Harbaugh coached the Ravens. Maybe they had sucked the last whatever years.
Right? But yeah, John is the Ravens coach, and I think he's a good coach.
Just wishful thinking. Let's jump to narratives. And gosh, who would have guessed any of the narratives this year? Who would have guessed that we would just the narratives are so much dictated by what happens during the game. It's hard to see. I haven't seen a narrative now about the first 3-4 weeks. It's all just been about play calling. Was it an audible? Was it not an audible? And so what are the narratives we're looking at with this game, Jay?
Well, I think a key matchup, and it could end up being a narrative, is the fact that it looks like both the Ravens starting corners are going to be out, and they do not have the backs. They have Brandon Carr, a guy who has been just awful since he's been in the league, as one of their backup corners. So it's going to be, can the Browns exploit that matchup? And they should be able to. I mean, you got with Landry and Beckham, they need to find a way to take advantage of the fact that neither of the Ravens corners are going to start, and they do not have backups like us. Realistically, Terrence Mitchell is a starting NFL corner. He's just as good, if not better, than than Ward and Greedy right now. So him and TJ Carey are both good corners. So it's not as big a deal for us to be missing our corners as it is for them to be missing their corners. So that right there, Odell Beckham versus Brandon Carr and Anthony Averett, the backup corners for the Ravens, is going to be a very big matchup, and one that I think the Browns should be able to take advantage of.
OBJ, Juice, even Ratley, who I think had an incredible – he probably should have gotten a game ball last week. I thought he played incredibly
You know what's funny is Ratley, I think, is a better player than Rashard Higgins, but it's just that Rashard Higgins is like Baker Mayfield's blankie. Like, he feels comfortable with him.
Dude,
you know what I mean? He
Rashard
needs him on the
Higgins
field.
is like the poorest man's Jerry Rice.
Like we joke with Zach. But yeah, he's just, Baker just feels extremely comfortable with him. As far as size and speed and athleticism, Ratley has it all. I think Ratley has a bright future. So you just have to find a way to exploit that decimated secondary of the Ravens. It's going to be tough, not going to be easy, but I think that's the Browns' game plan, and I think they had the talent obviously to do it.
How about this for a narrative? As of right now, Baker is 1-6 versus teams above 500.
Yes, that doesn't surprise me.
If this trend continues,
it has looked like Baker in his first 16 games in the league. It does seem that Baker has feasted on poor competition and not played as well against the good competition. And that's a lot of guys. Now, a lot of guys you'll look, but the difference is a lot of guys will find a way to be, instead of 1-6 versus the best teams, 4-3 versus the best teams, or, at least 500 versus the good teams, and then feast on the poor teams. So Baker has to find a way to do that. He has to find a way to turn it around against the really good competition.
Listen to us, Jeremy, complaining about our franchise starting quarterback being 1-6 against teams above 500.
Yeah, man.
Last year we were like, hey, Kaiser, he only threw 2 picks in the red zone this game. It's a little better.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
At least we're winning. Yeah, at least we've won some games now, going from 1-31 to, nitpicking, but still that's where we're at because we have a roster right now. This is where we have to get good. We have to start winning games. We have to take advantage of this talent in this window. And I think it's got to start this week against the Ravens.
It's hard to project positive narratives because I think for so long in the preseason, all we heard were hype, positive narratives. This is what the team could be. And so that's why I think it's easier to maybe envision these negative narratives a little bit. Jeremy, with the loss, with a close loss or even a big loss, do we start is Freddie Kitchens' job safe? What not to jump there yet, but is that something that we could start hearing?
You're going to start hearing it from fans. I don't think from the team. You got to give him a season. There's no way they're going to fire him in season, his first season as head coach. There's just no way. Mm-hmm. That would be, you want to talk about a dysfunctional mess and you want to hear what the media, oh my gosh, if they fired Freddie halfway through his first season, it'll be a mess. I don't see it happening. And, I'll say it right now. I think they're going to win this week. I think Baker, all the stuff swirling around him, I think he's going to finally put it together. I think Steve Wilkes is going to have a good game plan and they're going to slow down Lamar Jackson enough. And I think this is the week Baker comes back to form. He beats a team with a winning record and the Browns inject themselves back into the national conversation.
How soon do we see a 2020 draft tweet? End of the first quarter or at halftime?
What's the over-under on that?
Right.
4 minutes. I give 4 minutes. First drive. We get the ball first and don't score. Here it comes. Get the draft talk ready.
Narratives. No, people are just feasting on this Browns kind of team right now. I believe they're going to win as well. I expect them to win. I hope that they win. I think good teams are looking at this maybe fake facade of a Ravens team that they're maybe not as good as the record shows. They've played some suspect competition, but so have the Browns. Our one win came against the Jets. Are you kidding me? So what have we done that would make the Ravens team be like, oh man, we got to watch out, right?
Well, nothing yet, obviously.
Nothing.
In spurts, we have looked good. We talked about how Baker had the 11-12, against the Titans. At one point, he looked really good. The defense, the front four in the defense has looked dominant at times. So I'm sure the Ravens are at least a little bit worried about that. That's another thing. Another thing we missed a little bit ago is, the best of their tight ends, Mark Andrews, who played with Baker at Oklahoma and loves Baker and is just a fantastic player who I love, is another guy who hasn't practiced yet this week. So that's something to keep an eye on. They still have Hayden Hurst. They still have Nick Boyle. They still have good tight ends, but he's like their explosive playmaking tight end. So if he can't play, that's another big blow to that offense. They, like I said, they still have good tight ends and behind him, but they don't have another one like him. So that's another thing, another narrative that could pop up and something to keep an eye on.
With a win, the Ravens moved to 500, the Browns moved to 500, and are tied for first place in the AFC North, and the tiebreaker goes to Cleveland. Jeremy, no matter what happened the first 3 games, here we are, the chance to kind of take control of this.
Exactly. Conference. I think winning Sunday turns the whole season around. Period. Yeah. Winning Sunday turns the whole season around. The San Francisco game looks a lot different. Did you see Grossi? I don't know if you saw, but if the Browns win and the Steelers lose Monday night against the Bengals, Grossi said he's been told that Browns-Seattle game be flexed into Sunday night because the Steelers will be 0-4 and they're supposed to play that night. He said there's no way they're going to have them play that game. Yeah. So if the Browns win and the Steelers lose Monday night, that Browns-Seahawks game is going to be flexed in to Sunday Night Football, according to Tony Grossi. Well, so there's another little narrative.
No surprise there. We were all summer saying the Steelers are going to suck. And
then they lose their quarterback. And then they lose their quarterback.
So they really with Big Ben. I don't even think.
I know. We know that you're not a Big Ben fan. Chase, it's well documented.
Well, that was our Browns game preview presented by our good friends at House of Hoodies. Hey, I'm wearing mine right now. Super comfy, super warm. They're just the best ever. Jeremy, you got yours in the mail. You like yours, right?
Yeah. It's I posted this and I meant it. It's even nicer than I thought it was going to be. It's high quality. The embroidering of the elf is awesome. It's nice. It's cool looking. It's a cool design. It's a cool idea. I honestly like everything about it.
It really is. They're amazing. These hockey-style jersey hoodies. They have Browns ones. They have jerseys all over the NFL. So if you have a brother or sister, aunt, uncle, mom, or dad that likes a different team, check them out. TheHouseOfHoodies.com. They have them in orange or brown, helmet logo or elf for our teams, the Browns. These beauties are perfect for repping the Browns when it gets too cold out for jerseys. So you can wear one of these to the stadium, maybe even sneak a few beers or drinks under the hoodie in themselves. And the savings from the concession stands alone will pay for your hoodie and dress. They wear big, kind of droopy, but they're super comfy. It's not a Snuggie, but let me tell you, they are comfy to wear around the house. Let me tell you that. Check them out on Twitter at HO Hoodies. And again, their inventory online at thehouseofhoodies.com. If you use promo code ORANGER, you'll save 20% off your entire order. And let me tell you, you're going to like that savings. ORANGER, 20%. House of Hoodies bring you the very best hockey-style sweatshirts to the comfort of your own home, thehouseofhoodies.com. Jeremy, is your wife going to steal yours? You're going to be able to wear it.
Yeah, she loved it too. I'm actually going to order her one as well. She loved it. She thought it was, quote unquote cute and comfortable. And I don't know if you saw, but the company actually posted that the Browns and the Chiefs are their two best selling hoodie franchises is the Browns and the Chiefs. So that's cool. That's interesting. Not surprising because Browns fans love their team. They love their apparel. And we need hoodies because it gets cold around here.
It does. Hey, Jeremy, what are the keys to the game if the Browns are going to come away here from Baltimore with a 2-2 record atop the AFC?
Well, we talked about one of it. It's absolutely imperative, in my opinion, for Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry to have big games because that's where the Browns have the biggest advantage, I think, going in, where our strength versus their weakness is our wide receivers versus their corners. It's imperative that Baker, gets in rhythm this week with those two guys and the Browns game plan. I mean, I don't know if you watched the first half of the Green Bay game last night where the Packers found a weakness. They found that nobody in the Philadelphia secondary could guard Devontae Adams, and they just kept forcing him the ball. He had 160 yards receiving at halftime yesterday, and he got hurt in the second half. But that's what the Browns have to do. You have to find that weakness and exploit it. Who cares? I'm a believer. I'm a youth offensive coordinator. I'm a believer. If something works, just keep doing it. Just keep going and going and going until they stop it. And I think that's what the Browns have to do. I don't think that secondary is going to be able to guard Odell at all. And I think if that means throwing him the ball 15 to 20 times, that means throwing him the ball 15 to 20 times. Don't get too cute. Do what works. So the Browns, I think that's the matchup they can exploit, and I think they need to exploit it and keep exploiting it and keep exploiting it. I just think that's how they win this game, at least offensively, is to take advantage of those matchups that they're going to have on that side of the ball. Defensively, go ahead, Chase. I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to say I think you're right. I think the Browns have just way more playmakers on both sides of the ball than the Ravens, especially on offense. There is no way that we shouldn't be able to move the ball. I think the key to the game for us is one person. That's Baker Mayfield. He needs a game, 350, 3 TD, no intercept, to get these haters off of his back, to kind of put up so everyone shuts up. But also, man, he has really put himself out there. He's all these endorsements. He's saying all the right thing. He needs a game that puts him in the conversation of the best quarterbacks in the league, Boomer Esiason, right? To say that he's not overrated as Rex Ryan. Like all these things that you've been hearing, they're just like crapping. He needs a game to put the team on his back and say, no, hey, I'm the leader. I'm the quarterback. This is what's going to happen. And that needs to be this Sunday.
I agree 100%. I mean, look, you're watching Monday Night Football. You're watching Sunday Night Football. What do they say? Hey, guys, let's check in with Progressive. You have Jim Nantz saying that, whoever's calling the game. And here comes Baker Mayfield on your TV during all the NFL games. Like, it's time for him to put up or shut up. And this is the week to do it. He's got to put up this week. I think you're right. I think he is the big key to the game. But I think helping him is going to be OBJ and Jarvis Landry exploiting the fact that they're going to be without their 1 and 2 corners. They have to take advantage of that.
Yep. And
actually they're top three. Actually, they're top 3 because I've lost who it is, but the Ravens' number 1 corner was out for the year from training camp. So actually, they're on their 4th and 5th or 3rd and 4th corners this week. No, 4th and 5th corners this week. So the Browns absolutely have to take advantage of that. I was going to say the defensive line again, just like last week, and they did. They shut down the run, but it's even more imperative this week. You have Mark Ingram running like a man possessed right now. Yeah. You have Lamar Jackson running the ball great. That front 4 has to be just as dominant as they were last week. And you can include our boy Joe Schobert and Mac Wilson into this. They have to be able to stop the run. They have to. If they cannot stop the run, they'll just march the ball up and down the field, and that'll be it. They have to find a way to stop the run. They have to control the line of scrimmage like they did last week, and they're fully capable of it. As we've talked about a million times, that front four is awesome. It's dominant. They have to play to their abilities this week. It's imperative that they slow down that Ravens rushing game.
Yep. I'm going to go in a little different direction. I think first and foremost Baker Mayfield, but also I think we have to control the field position battle, the time of possession. I think special teams are going to be huge this week. Harbaugh, known special team extraordinaire. I think like we can't afford any shank punts. We have to cover well, and we have to win this field position battle. If the Ravens are going to be looking to control the clock and move the ball downfield and set up play action, all these things that Ravens do, I think it starts in the special. I mean, I want to see us have a complete game.
Sure.
No slip ups. I want to see a playoff team this Sunday.
Right. If we're going to win this game, it's got to be a clean game. It has to be clean. All three facets of the game. We can't have a bunch of penalties. You're right. We can't have a breakdown on special teams, and the offense has to move the ball. It's got to be a clean game if we're going to win this game, and we need to win this game. And I think we're going to win this game.
All right, Jay. What are some bold predictions you got?
Bold prediction. I think that what I said is going to come true. I think that OBJ is going to have another big game similar to the Jets game, a 9-catch, 160 touchdown performance. I don't see how he doesn't. And if he doesn't, I don't see how we win. We have to exploit that matchup. We have to exploit the fact that they don't have anybody that can cover him. So I'm going to say right there, off rip, OBJ has a monster game. His second big game as a Brown.
Well, you got to give us predictions, man. Like, what are some stats? Like, come on, receptions, yards, TDs.
I said. So remember, I said round 9 for 160 and a TD, somewhere in that range. More than 150 yards, a long TD, and I'll go a step further and I'll say this is the week that Baker breaks out of it. Look for somewhere in the neighborhood of 280 to 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. They find a way to exploit that beat up secondary. Baker Mayfield breaks out and shuts all the critics up at least for 1 week.
That's not a bold. I want to hear like 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like I want to hear a bold prediction.
Look, the way he's playing right now, 300 yards is a bold prediction. Okay, 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, a win on the road against the Ravens. That's bold, buddy. That's a bold prediction, and that's what I think is going to happen.
That's fair.
What's your bold prediction?
400 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Oh my God!
Let's go, man.
Bold.
Why not?
It's not possible. He did throw for over 300 yards versus the Ravens both games last year. Remember, it was him and Patrick Mahomes were the only 2 quarterbacks to throw for over 300 yards versus the Ravens last year, and they weren't nearly as decimated by injury in the secondary last year. They still had C.J. Mosley, and they still had Terrell Suggs, and they before they lost some players in free agency.
If the Browns are who we hope they are, if Baker is who we think he is, and the Chiefs did what they did last week, Browns aren't going to let up. Are you kidding me? The Chiefs, I think they were like, "Oh, okay, we're not going to show all of our cards."
And it started to rain.
Yeah,
which messed with their whole entire. It's tough to be the high flying, greatest show on turf when it's raining. So that's another reason.
Hell yes, the Browns Baker could put 404 on him. Why not?
Well, let's go. I'm not saying he can't. I would love to see it, brother. I'll be celebrating.
That's a bold prediction, Jay. 600 total offense yards is a bold prediction. Not your like save 300 to like. You got to step it up. I want next week, Monday night. I want to hear some bold predictions from Jeremy.
Listen, we're saying bold, not crazy. Okay, bold and crazy are 2 different things. Are you saying there's a thin line between bold and crazy?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I want to give shouts to our presenting sponsors, Alliant Health Center and the Place, Northern Ohio's first chiropractic biophysics clinic located in Westlake and Beechwood. Alliant Health Center helps patients with back pain, neck pain, migraines, ADHD, digestive issues, sleep disturbance, whiplash, scoliosis, and much more. The mission at Alliant Health Center is simple. Tell people in the Westlake and Beechwood areas achieve the best possible health and overall wellness. Also give shouts to our other presenting sponsor, The Place. The Place in Medina features one of the nation's largest showrooms of hot tubs, spas, fireplaces, outdoor cooking, and leisure products for your home. Recently renovated showrooms, might we add. Using promo code ORANGE, save you 10% on any grill. Visit The Place on 2377 Medina Road today to transform your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think The Place. Also, shouts to House of Hoodies for sponsoring our preview and narrative segment. Jeremy, any final thoughts?
Hey, wait a minute now. Before we go, you did not give your game prediction. So what's going to happen? What's the final score going to be?
Oh, Browns 35, Ravens 10.
Woo! Now that's a bold prediction. No, I'm going to say somewhat close. I'm going to say 28-17 Browns.
Yeah.
I think this week is the week the offense does break out, like I said, and we put up, Baker puts up some very good numbers, maybe not 400 yards, but some very good numbers. Browns win 28-17. Take the Browns, take the points.
Dude, you know what else is another good bold prediction? Jarvis Landry for a punt return for a touchdown.
And I could see that, man. I mean, Jarvis, I talk about this with everyone who listen, actually. I love watching Jarvis return punts because he catches the ball so clean. You never feel like it's going to be on the ground, Other guys, even Callaway, these guys, they don't always catch it clean. Jarvis always catches those punts clean. I love having Jarvis back there, and I would love it for Jarvis just because he's such a good dude, and he's the heart and soul of the team. I would love to see Jarvis Landry make a big play to change the game.
He will be my next Browns jersey, I can tell you that. I think a couple times, especially against the Jets, I think he had a lane against the Rams, some really good returns. I think he is incredible, and I think that's going to happen some point this year. At some point, he's going to get one. And so why not against the Ravens? Jeremy, where are you watching the game at, brother?
I'm watching at home with my boy. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Be in the man cave, hanging out with Hunter, watching the game. I'll probably have to turn the sound off at some point. I get when if it's a close game, the announcers tend to annoy me, so I turn the sound off. My son hates it, but it is what it is. So I can't wait.
Yep.
Sunday in the basement, babe.
Gotta have Jim Donovan and Doug Deacon call the game, brother.
Yeah, I know. I love it. And you can actually time it up. You can now with DVR, you can rewind it and time it up so there's not the delay. So you actually can do that.
Yep. All right, man. Well, have a great weekend and go Browns. Hoo, 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 hoo.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Hoo, hoo.